Hello and welcome to another update. In this one, it will probably be a short one as there's a few updates to cover. Starting out in the direction of Oryhiv, the Ukrainian forces launched what could be considered a surprise attack, not because the Russian forces weren't expecting an attack, but because they managed to go around the Russian reconnaissance and managed to take the Russian defenders by surprise, since the reconnaissance force did not detect the Ukrainian attacking forces. So around 2:30 p.m. Ukrainian time, the Russians were attacked. That is about 2.5 hours ago from the time of the recording of this video. So after the Ukrainian forces were detected by the Russian defenders, as the Ukrainian forces reached the front line of the Russian defenders, they then called in artillery support, and the fight is ongoing according to the latest updates. From this, we then see a follow-up update where there is a bit more information. From this, we can see that the Novodanilivka-Rabotino line, which is from this area right here, the Ukrainian forces are attacking in this part as they are trying to launch attacks on the Russian trenches, and they have managed to reach them, the ones at the front ahead of Robotine. So they are actively storming the defensive lines ahead of Robotine. The village itself is not that fortified. There are some fortified positions ahead of it, which the Ukrainian forces are now attacking. If they manage to win this battle, then they'll be able to capture the village of Robotine very soon. So this is actually a very good, formidable position for them to have, as they managed to catch the Russian defenders in this part of guard and are now launching an assault on those positions. According to the update in the fields here to the east of Robotine, the Ukrainian forces have managed to capture or reach some of the trenches here in this part. I'm not exactly sure where they are, as they have not been mapped out and the satellite images are old, but essentially here to the east of Robotine there are some trenches here in the fields, and the Ukrainian forces have reached them and are now fighting there, which means that Robotine itself is under heavy fighting as the Ukrainian forces are closing in on it. Although the Ukrainian forces managed to capture the Russian forces off guard, it is not completely off guard, as in the past few days the Ukrainian forces have been detected in and around Oryhiv, gathering the forces of the 47th Mechanized Brigade as well as the 65th Mechanized Brigade, which means that the Russian forces were expecting an offensive, they just didn't know when, and now that the assault groups have arrived at the front line, they are now fighting them head on. So although the Ukrainian forces got around the detection of the Russian scouts, the Ukrainian forces have a significant advantage through that, but the Russian forces were not completely off guard, which means that they are still able to fight them head on. However, it will be interesting to see which side will come out on top in this battle, as the Ukrainian forces should have the advantage right now. As for the Bakhmut front, there has been an update here as well, as the Ukrainian forces have actually managed to capture the trench here to the southwest of Klishchiivka. This is very interesting because this means that Klishchiivka is now under heavy threat, as one of the two trench networks in and around the village have been captured by the Ukrainian forces, which means that the Ukrainian forces can now capture the fields to the west of the village and are now able to storm and attack and assault the trench network to the north of the city from 4 different directions, from the south, southwest, west and northwest. And this they will be able to attack it from multiple directions, which would put heavy pressure on the village and allow them to possibly capture it in the coming days. So the Ukrainian forces are putting heavy pressure on the southern flank of Bakhmut and south of Oryhiv. And that is all for this update. Thank you for watching and have a great day.